Can we perhaps just begin by taking a look at the week that was, and at a week in which the rand really went nowhere, and yet at the same time we've got the euro, the currency of South Africa's major trading partners, trading at a 2.5-year high. Why couldn't we match the strength of the euro, Michael?
Good morning, Godfrey. Well, obviously the rand still remains one of the worst performing currencies this year, which I think just illustrates the point that the rand isn't just taking its cue from kind of euro-dollar movements. The euro is kind of stalling around that 137 level, and the rand has really been weakening this year, I think, because of domestic forces. We've seen the return of the import community. Of course, they were very quiet over December when the rand was quite strong. And then we've also seen the Reserve Bank accumulating reserves quite aggressively since the beginning of this year. And I think those two domestic forces have ensured that the rand is weakened not only against the dollar, but across the board. And that's why we haven't really taken advantage of the stronger euro.
Yeah, and at the same time, we've also seen gold coming under pressure. Yesterday, we saw it sliding below that $400 mark, and the perception is that it could well continue under pressure. How much of a negative is that for the rand going forward?
Well, the gold price has two implications for the currency. Firstly, through the exports of gold, and then secondly, the portfolio effect, because obviously the JSE is heavily weighted in resource stocks. There's a lot of mining companies and gold companies on the bourse. So if we see the gold price retreat, then we could actually have two negative effects on the currency, both from the portfolio and from the trade component. But at this stage, nothing really seems to be dislodging this rand. It seems to really be stuck between the 7 rand handle and 7.10 to the top side, and I don't think that's really going to change for the rest of this week.
So the week ends between that range of 7 to 7.10. What about next week? What are you looking for? We do know, of course, today we've got those USD GDP numbers that are coming through. How much of a risk are they to perhaps further maybe a little more weakness in the currency?
Well, the market is expecting an upside surprise in GDP. It's the first reading for the fourth quarter out of the US economy, and it's expected to recover from around 2.6% to around 3.5%. That's quite a healthy jump, and it's on the back of an improved trade balance and also some renewed consumption from the US consumer. So if that number comes out quite strongly, we could see some broad-based dollar strength. But again, as we mentioned a bit earlier, the rand not taking a lot of direction from euro-dollar movements at this stage. And, you know, in essence, we still believe that the rand is stuck in a range, but the bias still remains in favour of renewed rand weakness up to that 7.17, 7.22 area. So for the coming week, especially if US GDP impresses this afternoon, I would be looking for a 6.98 to a 7.17, 7.22 range.
Yeah. What about the euro, Michael? Where is it getting its strength from? We have seen during this week very, very strong political support from the euro coming from the French president, and we've also seen various figures suggesting that the euro may not be the, you know, the dead case that some people have been suggesting it may well be.
Yeah, look, I think you know, we've had a lot of bad news out of Europe in terms of its high debt levels, and those bad reports have probably reached kind of saturation point. If we look at the credit spreads in that market, they haven't returned to what they were before the debt crisis. So there's still a lot of underlying concerns, but I think a lot of that bad news is already priced into the euro, and the euro in recent weeks has actually been recovering, mainly because there's been talk of renewed inflationary pressures coming through in Europe, and also that the US economy is by no means out of the woods and is not likely to tighten up on its monetary policy anytime soon. However, I stress to add that, you know, kind of 137 is proving quite a stubborn level for those euro bills, and we are seeing the euro be now quite overbought from a technical perspective. So I think there's a good chance to believe that the euro will once again start giving back some of the strength it's made over the past few weeks, and that would also feed into our weaker dollar rand view.